And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today, I am here talking with Amber de la Garza. Amber, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you today.
It is going to be a great conversation because she is hitting on one of my hot buttons that we'll tell you about in just a minute. So Amber does a lot of things. She's a business coach. She's a speaker, a trainer, a writer, podcast host, wife, dog mom, all kinds. I mean, she's got all kinds of things going on. But
just like all of you, for sure.
That's right, exactly. And the question is really, how do you make time for what matters most? That's what we're going to talk about. So Amber, as we just dive into this, tell us, how in the world did you get to doing what you do today?
Yeah. So I'm sure like many people's stories, it's a lot of dots that got connected. And in the moment, you don't quite realize it. But looking back, it was, a windy road and it was all meant to be. So I would say almost 20 years ago, at that time, I was working as a business coach in the real estate industry. I had gone to college, worked in real estate, worked my way up until I was coaching in a very large company, the top 10% of sales executives on business systems, how to grow their business, how to leverage, how to scale, all about business. And it was then that the first seed was planted that my clients would come back and be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I really want to work on my business. But guess what? I have no time. Right? I have good intentions, but like, I just can't get it done. And I always wondered, like, why is that? Like, why, when they tell me it's important and they know the systems are working, can they not show up? And so that kind of led me down this journey. And then I continued working for that company in various positions, got pregnant, took all my maternity, all my vacation. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this corporate ladder that I was on, I don't want to climb it anymore. I think I'm done.
Yay for you.
Yeah. So I went in, I resigned. And in that meeting, the CEO said, leaned over the desk and he just said, good for you for choosing family over work. We'd love to keep you on as a consultant. And I'm like, what? Okay. Really? So for the first 2 years of my son's life, I consulted. I was like, whoa, what's this life? Like better money, better hours. You only get to do the things you love. And the thing that they said, hey, will you consult? The thing that they were like, we can't have you leave for was processes, systems, training. And I was like, that is my niche. And I think I can help other people. And so then I started my own company. And this is, I wasn't always the productivity specialist. Right. When I first started my company, I thought, you know what? For people to have the time to reach their goals, they need more organization, right? They're disorganized. They're wasting a lot of time. I quickly realized, this is the marketing secret, that organization was seen as a luxury and efficiency was seen as a necessity. So I switched from organization and called myself the efficiency specialist. And the doors, like, it just like changed overnight. And I didn't change my offering. I didn't change my services. And then from efficiency, I said, you know what? This is great that I can come in and help with systems and processes, but it's really about the behavior. It's about the person. It's about how can they manage themselves to be able to manage others? How can they manage themselves to manage time? And I switched to the productivity specialist. And that I have been doing for about 8 years. No more switching.
Wow. No, I love it. And I told you before the podcast, I rare that I have somebody on here who is actually the something, right? So you are the productivity specialist.
Yes. And specifically for small business owners. Yeah. So that was also part of the journey, is niching down to who can I serve best.
Right. Well, Lord knows there are lots of them out there who need you, myself included. I mean, we always need it. This is one of my hot buttons because I read and study this. I mean, I'm rereading right now, and you're probably too young for this. Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right?
I'm not too young, but thank you for the compliment.
You're welcome. I've owned that book, Amber, for 32 years. Yeah. It's falling apart. I've read it so many times, and I'm rereading it right now, and it is just as applicable today as it was when you first launched it.
Yeah.
because he talks about it's not time management, it is self-management. It's priorities. It's
Mhm.
looking at the big rocks. And a lot of what I'm sure you and I are going to talk about here in the next few
Yeah.
minutes,
Yeah.
processes, systems, training, organization, efficiency, making sure I'm climbing the right ladder, making
Mhm.
sure I'm delegating training. So how do you, no, before I go, how, what are some of the struggles that you see small business owners just fighting with every day before they come to you there, or when they come to you, they're like, Amber, this is, how do you help me with that? What are some things going on? Because I know it's going to resonate with my audience.
Yeah. My clients tend to be seasoned, successful business owners that find themselves in a place where they're like, I'm not happy being a business owner anymore. It's affecting my personal life. It's affecting my health. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. Because when we became business owners, we thought we're doing this for various reasons. But one of the top reasons is I'm in control of my time,
Um,
time freedom. And, what I find is so many business owners like wake up one day and they're like, how did this become what it is? It feels so chaotic and messy and overwhelming. So I work with those business owners and teach them to what you just referred to is what are the foundational skill sets? What are the foundational lessons that you can apply and apply consistently? And I'm a huge believer that productivity, organization for that matter, is not a one size fits all. I think that the foundational principles do not change, they work, but how you apply them to you in your life can be highly customized. And that's where I see the biggest impact for my business owners. Um, and so my job is to help them live a more joyful life, enjoy being a business owner, reaching their goals over there. And you had said it a couple of times, like make time for what matters most. And that could be business, but oftentimes it's like sleep, health, relationships, children,
yeah.
basketball games. Like it's the real life. It's the part of all of us of who we are. And unfortunately, that gets squeezed out in the pursuit of achieving something great in our business. And my belief is you can have both. And so that's what I help my clients with.
Absolutely. That's so cool. So I make time for what matters most. And I talked to you about that, before we started the podcast. I'm taking walks right now because it's beautiful weather in Arkansas right now. I take walks outside in between Zoom calls and things. I do that because I've learned how to be efficient, how to
Mm-hmm.
delegate, how to organize and plan my day and all of that. So that when I have these gaps, I've learned also that I can do that, Amber, and not feel guilty.
Yes.
Do you find business owners feel guilty a lot in trying
They
to?
Yes, they feel guilty all the time. On my podcast, Productivity Straight Talk, there's a lot of strategy, there's mindset, but I'll be honest, sometimes it's about giving them permission. Like, how can you give grace to yourself? How can you treat yourself as you treat your number one employee? How can you have grace and say, today was a bad day, tomorrow I'm restarting? How can you, leave the guilt when you're at work because you're not with the loved ones, and guilt when you're with your loved ones that you need to be at work? Or a common one that I hear that I think might resonate with a lot of your listeners is that if I take time off but my team's working, there's usually a lot of guilt around that. And so unpacking that, what does that mean? How do you create a business by design, not by guilt?
Absolutely. And the real secret there, folks, is most of the time your team's happy when you're gone.
Yeah,
So they're like,
that's
"No,
a good
I'm
one. I'll
gone
have to
now."
use that.
Not only do they party, but they get more things done usually because I know I come in
Yes.
and start messing with things, and my team's like, "Get out of there. That's not your place anymore."
Yes. Yes. Totally get that.
So, efficiency is really cool. Unpack that because you did that. Go back to the organization versus efficiency thing because you dropped a couple nuggets that were really cool that I want to unpack a
Yeah.
little bit more as we talk about all of this. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that obviously every business, to be a profitable, healthy business, should aspire to run an efficient business. It's about doing the right things efficiently, not just of yourself, but your team. But efficiency and organization. So again, organization is often kind of interchanged with productivity. Like I have to be organized to be productive. And the truth is, I don't actually believe that. And I think that you listening know that too. We know that we probably know a friend that their desk is completely messy, they're buried behind it, their inbox is a mess, but they're nailing their goals.
Yeah.
But we also know that person that has a perfectly clean desk, color-coded calendar, and they're not achieving their goals. And so if we do know that it's possible those are both truths, then the fact is that I think that we're being our most productive selves is when we are showing up our best, investing our best time into those activities that allow us to reach our goals. And so it's not the same, but man, organization is a great supporter, right? Like, if you tell me, hey, I don't have enough time to do X, Y, and Z in my business, but you're wasting time looking for lost documents, recreating stuff, can't find your keys to get out the door,
Oh,
then some organization is needed just so that it can allow you to show up your best. So that's how I discern the difference between the two.
I love that. And in the productivity thing, you're the productivity specialist, right? And when we think productivity, we should be thinking, I think leverage. I put in, and Covey does this in his book, right? I put in a pound of one thing and I get 8 pounds out on the other side. Leverage, that's being productive. And business owners, I think, and tell me if this is where your clients are, they're too busy kind of getting down into the weeds, the nitty gritty, the operational aspects of the business, when as an owner, we should be higher than that, orchestrating the business so that we can provide leverage and greater productivity, not just for ourselves, but for our people, our teams, and our businesses. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like you kind of read in my head. So my group coaching program is called Leverage Lab for that reason, literally
Okay.
Leverage Lab. So it's where business owners learn how to leverage. So my framework is called STOP, the Stop Leverage Formula. So how to leverage ourselves, which is, our health, our well-being, our balance, our mindset. T is time. So time is like task management, project management, planning your days. O is organization, which is also that efficiency. So business systems, digital organization. And then the last one, P, is people. How do you leverage people? People in your business, people in your personal life, like leverage relationships, strategic partners. How do you find leverage in these 4 pillars is how I help my clients be more productive.
I love frameworks and formulas and acronyms.
There you go. They're easy to remember, right?
They are. So we can now stop being productive.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's great. Leverage Lab. So that's a program that you have. How else do you work? Do you work like one-on-one with business owners? If they're like, yeah, I don't want to do a program thing, I need help like now.
Yeah. So there's 2 main two main ways that I work with my clients. One is through private coaching. And then the other is through my group coaching program. There's benefits to both, but they serve different business owners at different stages with different pain points. The largest portion of my business is private coaching. That is what I've done for almost a decade. I added in Leverage Lab so I could serve more people at a price point that more people can access. And then also there's just this magic about being in the same room with other people that are like, oh my gosh, I have the same challenges. And oftentimes I found that other people can articulate things that have been on your heart or you just struggled with and you weren't sure how to ask for help or articulate it. That's really helpful in the group coaching side. Private coaching is incredibly customized and I meet you where you're at and we work on you and your business.
Yeah, that is so good. And both of those are articulated so well on your website that we want to send people to here in a little bit, the productivityspecialist.com. So as you can tell, Amber's doing a lot of marketing things right.
It's been a long journey. I wish I had that little gene in me the day I opened my business, but I'll tell you, actually, so to their point, marketing was a skill set I had to work on and work diligently on. And I think the same thing is true for productivity. We're not just born with it. It's not a gene, but it's something that if we work on, we can improve and it helps all areas of our life. But marketing has been that piece for me. It didn't come easy, but I've tried hard to learn it.
Well, you're doing really well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The other thing about your I want to make sure our audience gets this is if you're listening to this and any of this is resonating, please understand you're not the only one. Everybody struggles here. And the fastest route to getting out of your rut is by connecting with Amber, the productivity specialist, and saying, I need help. It might be one-on-one, it might be in a group with some other entrepreneurs like you, because
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest lies that we believe is everybody has it all figured out
Yeah.
except me.
Yes. So I do a onboarding call with all of my clients to where I dig deep into their business, and inevitably, like I have a whole flow. And at the end, I say, is there anything that I should know that I didn't ask? And they take a pause and there's some version of this. So am I the biggest mess? Are you sure you can help me? Like this has got to be the worst you've seen. And the truth is they all say it and it's not true. Like that exactly what I believe I was put on this world to do, is like align myself with the mess and help get on the other side of it and find that clear path. And so oftentimes people don't pick up the phone because they think like they're embarrassed. It's kind of like, hey, come into my house and look at my junk drawer. And like, it's a little bit vulnerable, but if you're willing to know that you are not alone and that there can be something better, feel better for you in your business, ask for help.
Absolutely. Yeah. The best way to get help is to be transparent, to bare your soul to a trusted confidant, and to realize as soon as you do, you're going to say, oh, wow, everybody else has the same problem too. Oh, okay. And there's help. And it comes from peers. It comes from Amber. It comes from her team. And it comes from walking through the process. This is not a purple pill overnight solution, right? You didn't get into this mess overnight. You're probably not going to get out of it overnight, but it's not a lifelong thing. It's tweaking some things. It's mindsets, it's concepts, it's frameworks that she has to help stop doing certain things and leverage your productivity for yourself, your team members, your family, and time for what matters most.
That's right.
Amber, is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
I mean, this has been so good. So, what have you not asked me? I often get asked, if I had to give advice on where to start, where's one place I could start, right? Improving my productivity. And while there is a lot of different starting points, I will say that one of the most impactful places is to plan your day. And I teach a really simple framework. In fact, it's even on my podcast, but in 15 minutes, you could, plan your day in 5 steps. And it's the difference between feeling like you got ran over by your business or you drove, you're in the driver's seat versus the passenger seat. The difference between being proactive and reactive. And what I hear often is, yeah, I tried that. It didn't go as planned. Like, why? I tried and I did it again and it never goes as planned. So here's my tip. It was never meant to go as planned. The disconnect, the stress, the shame that it didn't work out is the false belief that it should have gone as planned. The key here is that when you plan your day, it's going to go more likely as planned, but it allows you to be agile and handle the fires or the unexpected and get back on track quicker and faster. And oftentimes, well, we know this, right? So you're deep in work, you're like, I got this, today's different. And then an email comes in or a phone call and you're sidetracked, derailed. And what is that feeling when you're done and you're like, what was I doing? Where am I supposed to be? Oh my gosh, right?
Seriously, yeah.
No, but if you have a plan, you've got those tracks laid and you're like, yes, I handled that. And then quickly you're back on track and you know where to go back to. And that efficiency and clarity about where you need to be investing your time is what comes out of planning your day.
And that, my friends, is from the productivity specialist herself. Plan your day. And I give that 100% thumbs up. That changes your life more than anything because you stay productive, which is what Amber de la Garza is all about. She is the productivity specialist. You can find out more at your website, theproductivityspecialist.com. Is that the best place to find you?
Yeah, absolutely. And also my podcast, Productivity Straight Talk. So wherever you're listening to this, tune in and take a listen. Love to have you. And then also we have a free mini course that I created. In less than 30 minutes, I'll show you how to reclaim 20 minutes back each and every day. Now, that's a huge promise. I don't make false promises, but It's really about reclaiming time, and it's called Take Back Your Time. And you can find that at amberdelagarza.com/take back your time.
Awesome. I'm going to grab all that, put it in the show notes so that if you're out walking the dog, driving around, or exercising, you can just come back and get this, because Amber's going to be able to help you make time for what matters most by really becoming more productive in all areas of your life. And just go to the website, find out more about her. Amber De La Garza. She is the productivity specialist who can help you. Amber, thank you. This has been such a great interview. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.